of trouble.
Yeah.
But, one would assume that was the case.
Now they moved on and fought their way across Germany, across France, and
Yeah, I guess the next big
Yeah.
engagement after the D-Day landing, which was consolidated in about 3 or 4 days, was preparation for the Battle of Carpiquet.
oh yes,
Carpiquet was the airport for the village of Caen, or the town of Caen.
yes,
And Caen was regarded as a strategic objective, whereas Carpiquet became the tactical objective for the Queen's Own because it overlooked and dominated the town. So without the airfield in friendly hands,
Yes.
getting through that town was going to be even more difficult than it turned out to be. So in an early phase of the capture of Caen, this Battle of
Yes.
Carpiquet took place.
oh yes,
Successfully, as it
Successfully,
turned out,
yeah.
but a very costly battle.
yes, yeah. Now they moved on through the land, eventually getting towards Nijmegen.
Yes, they got into the Hochwald, which was sort of a difficult series of engagements because of the closeness of the country. And the Victoria Cross that was awarded to Sergeant Aubrey Cousins during
Yes.
the Second World War was in fact taken at a small village called Mooshof, which was on the border of Holland and Germany. He was the only Victoria Cross that the regiment was awarded in the Second World War.
Yes,
But it was a heroic thing that he did. He attacked a farmhouse with only 3 men left. The 3 men gave him covering fire. He called up a tank to give him more covering fire, and he went in and cleared the farmhouse himself. In fact, he cleared 3 buildings there.
yeah.
And unfortunately didn't survive the engagement. As it was ending, he was killed by a sniper. So he's a posthumous winner of the Victoria Cross.
Yeah. My gosh. Now, a number are buried in the cemetery at Nijmegen, at Groesbeck.
Yes, I suspect, I haven't checked all the places that they're buried, but I've been to a couple of them, and certainly Bernier-sur-Mer is another big cemetery which has got
Yes.
a lot of riflemen in it because of its
Yeah.
proximity to the landings. And there are Canadians and riflemen, as it turns out, spread, I guess, from the beachhead area right through to Holland and Belgium.
Yeah. I had occasion to be in Groesbeck.
Oh, yeah.
And I was surprised at the number of, at the age of the people there. They're all young fellows.
Yeah, I'm never surprised, but I still wonder at what was going on in their young minds as they faced the formidable German army and I think it became less formidable as they went on. But they were I was going to say kids. They
Yeah.
were youth. There's no
Yeah.
question about it.
Now, we've got to move right along, and there's many lost in Germany, but then after World War II, the Queen's Own people found themselves in Korea.
Yes, they were the last major unit in Korea and returned from Korea to Gordon Head Barracks here in Victoria before they embarked for duty in Germany. Yeah.
Now, you were in Korea yourself.
Yes.
As a lieutenant.
Yes, an infantry lieutenant.
Infantry lieutenant, and had a bit of excitement there.
Well, yes, I did. I'm not sure if I would describe it as excitement or terror at times, but yes, I had a very exciting tour. I was there for 1 year and came home. I was on my way home when the ceasefire was declared in July of '53.
Now, after Korea, there was UN duties in Suez.
Yeah, the principal one that we got involved in early was the 1st Battalion of the Queen's Own, then stationed in Curry, was the first Canadian unit to be selected for United Emergency Force duties.
Oh, yes.
And we were emplaned in Calgary, and I think 27 boxcars, and flown as fast as those boxcars could move in those days, through Winnipeg, through Toronto, and landed in Shearwater. where we were to get aboard the aircraft carrier we had at the time,
Bonaventure,
the Maggie,
or the Maggie.
no, the Maggie, the Magnificent,
Maggie?
yeah. And the shame of the story, as it turns out, was our disappointment in having to be changed for another unit, and it wasn't an infantry unit that was going to go, which we were. It was a combination of logistics, maintenance, communications, and reconnaissance. It was an ad hoc force that the general there, I guess, felt he needed more than he needed an infantry battalion. But from that era, Lester Pearson was recognized as the creator of those sorts of forces for the United Nations, and was given the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah. And Cyprus was another one.
Yeah, that became kind of a routine one for all the infantry regiments, and then they began to bring in gunners and armored corps later on. But it tended to be an infantry job time after time after it started in 1964. Went on for a long, long time.
Yes.
With infantry battalions rotating through.
Yeah. Now yourself as a Queen's Own, and then you moved to the Canadian Airborne Regiment.
Yes.
For a piece of time as their commanding officer.
I was a regimental commanding,
Regimental commanding officer.
Yeah. I had 2 very good years with that regiment from 1971 to 1973.
Yeah.
One of the most exciting periods of my life in some ways. Good soldiers. Many of them came from the Queen's Own, because the Queen's Own, one of the battalions was disbanded in 1968 when the Airborne Regiment was formed. And about 250 of them went up from Calgary to the Airborne Regiment forming in Edmonton. So when I went to it, I found an awful lot of people that I knew.
Oh, so it's always good to see old friends.
Yes, it is.
Part of the regimental family.
And you kind of know the quality of those people too.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a very pleasant experience.
Yeah. And there's been a continuing contact since the Airborne Regiment was disbanded, I think.
Well, even before they were disbanded, the militia unit in Toronto was given an airborne role. Originally, it was to provide a platoon for one of the commandos within the Airborne Regiment, and after the disbandment, it was expanded to provide 160 jumpers, I think, initially, roughly a company plus. To support airborne training in Trenton, Ontario.
And in this present time, there are still Queen's Own members serving with the military, and some in Afghanistan.
There are. On practically all of the rotations, there are some, but when the infantry is coming from the east particularly, there appears to be 20 or 30 in a group that find themselves serving with the infantry battalions that are there. And one of the members that was serving some time ago, I think 2006, by the name of Corporal Stephen Thomas, did in fact win the Medal of Bravery.
Well, the carrying on the traditions of the regiment.
We think so, yes, and they're deep, long, and proud.
Yes. Well, Herb, we're out of time for today, but thank you very much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And sharing with us the history of the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada. And thank you for watching.
The proceeding was an independently produced community access program. The viewpoints expressed are those of the community access producer and do not reflect those of Shaw Cable Systems. The program is presented in response to CRTC policy guidelines regulating community programming.